Today's Roll for Crit preview will take a look at Empty Space. This is an actual game, it just happens to blend in with our tablecloth, in which you'll be sending a probe and then hopefully a rocket to one of these exoplanets to find one that is survivable before everyone else.
Yeah, you're exploring the universe and you want to be the best at it. The way it works is on your turn, you have two options. The first one that you're probably going to be taking a lot in the early game is to research. So the way it works is you're going to get to draw cards from over here. Now you can either take one of these two face-up cards or a face-down card in any combination that you want. As soon as you take one of these, a new one replaces it immediately. Each card has a color on it. They also have, a little name. It could be a planet, a galaxy, a moon, all kinds of different space-related things. They're really just there for flavor if you're interested in those. What you really care about is the color of them. So once you've drawn some of the cards that you want, then you can use the different colors to take actions. There are a few main actions that you can do. One of them is you could spend two cards of different colors to peek at one of these face-down cards. So you can look at it and then you can decide if you want to reveal it for everybody or keep it to yourself, and it's more of a memory thing. You gotta remember where that is for the future, which could be important later. You can spend three of the same color to change the universe. What that means is you'll take one of those three that you spent and replace a card on the board that is face up with that card. This will be important later on when you're moving your rocket or other people are moving their rockets or probes. You'll want to change those colors. We'll explain that in a minute. Another thing you can do is spend four of the same color. You might also use one of these wild cards right here. Of course, they stand for any color that you want. If you do that, you get to buy first a probe, and then eventually you'll be able to buy a rocket. That's later on. And again, we'll tell you what you do with these in a second. The final card that you can play on your turn is the black hole. This is very scary. You actually put this on top of an existing card, and it essentially blocks people from progressing because they're trying to get to the end of this space just like you are. So if you think they're on a path and you don't want them there, you put this in their way and you will stop them. You can't put it on a space that already has a piece on it, however, but if someone eventually hits a space like that, if they were forced to for some reason, I don't know why they would do that, but they could, they would have to make their ship leave the board.
So the other action to explore, Jonathan was already talking about it a little bit with black hole because that's really where black holes become scary. But the idea is instead of drawing on your turn, you can first play cards, same as before. So if you have two different colors, you can look ahead to see if there's something in your advantage, play it, do the three of a kind, whatnot. Then you can move. Now the way that works is first you have to build a probe. And you'll start down here, and if, for example, this card's there of already your color, you can move on to that color for free. If it's not, so let's say like this, you can move on to there if you have a red card to discard, or a wild, luckily like that. Now, if you didn't have that, or if you were to move blindly, because you can do that, and if like that, or it was a black hole, your ship is destroyed, has to start over in another explore action later on. Now, what you're gonna do is you can choose to stop, so next turn you can choose to explore again, starting from there. Maybe you want more cards to look ahead and make sure you don't blow up. Let's say you flip over the cards and you've been making your way all the way until you hit the second to last row. At this point, you will flip over all of these exoplanet tiles. Now everyone knows where their goal is. So if you bought the green probe first, you're now the green player. So you don't actually choose your color right away. And at this point, you can see very unfortunate. He's right across on the map. Granted, not a lot of green there. So he'd probably use the spend 3 green to maybe replace more things with green. And so his goal is to try to make it back over there. Once he gets his probe there, you're going to go through the whole thing again, but this time with a rocket. And if you get your rocket to the planet first, you have won.
Yeah, so it's essentially a race, as well as, you're trying to figure out what is the best path forward. And eventually, by the time you're removing your rocket, probably a decent chunk of these cards will be open knowledge for everybody. And so then it's about prepping your turns and waiting until you have the right cards in hand or you've replaced them and moving then before other players can mess it up.
Yeah, the first half, which is really just about the probes getting to this point, is really just finding an optimal path for you. The second half is really more, how do you trip up your opponent's optimal path? This usually means doing the plain 3 color of a kind. In this case, even though it's green in my color, it might be more advantageous to, let's say you were blue, or yellow, because there's more yellow here. I'm going to swap that out. So you have to discard a card now in order to get through it. So it's more like that, or obviously the black holes, which literally are just a dead end.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a simple game. It's definitely one that I think kids or families, for the most part, could get a chance to play and figure it out, wrap their heads around it. But the artwork, as you can see, like I said, it's different kinds of space phenomena.
Yeah, I was thinking it'd probably be good for someone who's maybe new to games, but already has a taste in astrology. Astronomy. No, not astrology. That's very different. But just because it could be one of those things like, oh, I know what this is.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, the game doesn't require, it's not a trivia game or anything like that. You don't have to know about science. Yeah, but even just coming across really and being familiar with, learning about the different planets and everything, I don't know what symbiotic stars are, but now I might be interested in learning now that I've seen that card. So if you're looking for something that's kind of got it's kind of a race game mixed with there's a memory factor and a little bit of take that involved, the black holes and things, with a scientific edge to it. That is what Empty Space provides, and it's a small package. It's just a simple deck of square cards, so easy to take with you somewhere. You could also, we should say, arrange this in different patterns. This is the default setup, but you can take these cards and make any kind of weird array that you want, which does add a lot of variety to it.
Yeah, they added some different ones. I think one had like a choke point, for example, so no matter what, everyone had to go through a one space. So if you really mean, just put a black hole there.
Right.
There's a lot of other weird things like that. They also have some alternates where people do choose the color at the beginning. Though personally, I thought it was more interesting that you have to decide, and like later on, you're like, what can I get 4 colors of? Or I'm seeing a lot of red in this row, so I should try to get the red probe first.
Yeah, that definitely adds some more choices for it. Check it out. It's called Empty Space. We will have a link to that Kickstarter in the description down below. And you should also comment if you're watching and let us know what you think about it and what your favorite galaxy is. I don't know. I tried. We'll see you guys later.
Until then, I'm Will.
I'm Jonathan.
And this has been a Roll for Crit Preview.
We want you to like and subscribe, and if you have the chance, take a look at our Patreon.
Stay tuned to our channel for tons more tabletop gaming content. You don't want to miss it.